Anyhow, a guy who also opinions have changed about him. Top 5 thoughts on Coach Cal and UK.
Oh, boy.
Number 5, can Coach Cal check his ego a little bit? I think, that's the thing. Smokey, what was the thing we said the first time we were at the press conference with him when Baylor played Kentucky? Was not, man, this guy's brilliant. Man, it's unbelievable. What an unbelievable ego. Control the room, kind of bully the people around, and it's because of this just massive ego. And I'm not saying that that's a big ego.
But when we were there, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time
ago. He was
ago.
coming off a national,
but, he was about to win the national.
Yeah.
But, there's a way you can channel your big ego. You can be Teddy Roosevelt and channel it well. And for a while, Coach Cal did. And I think that right now it's not serving him well because he has not gotten his team to a Final Four in 9 years. And a lot of the things he's doing or saying are maybe falling on deaf ears. Or it's just all right, don't lose to St. Peter's, don't lose to Oakland, and then we'll maybe buy your stick a little bit more. I think his act is a little bit tired and he needs to refresh it. And maybe that means he needs to, sit down, be humble for a second.
Yeah, that's going to be. I like him. I really do. I like listening to him, but I wonder, man, when you're up that ladder that high, can you be humbled? I think everyone can be humbled.
Man, it doesn't matter what your personality is. If you're win, as long as you're not cursing people out left and right, you can be however you want to be, however cocky you want to be, however arrogant you want to be, and I think his ego's perfectly fine when they're winning. Mm-hmm. But when you're losing and you're not winning as much as you're supposed to, now it's an issue. So, yeah, that's probably something he's going to have to kind of realize or, I guess, massage a little bit, that's not coming across the same way it was when you were winning games and advancing deep in the tournament.
Well, and if you are an $8 million a year coach and you're out of the tournament early every single year, those things just don't work anymore. So, Again, I just think, I'm not one of these people who says fire Coach Cal because, one, they're not going to do that. And, two, it's just you got to give a Hall of Famer a chance to, really look at the last few years and go, what's the common theme here? Which brings us to number 4. What aren't they doing that other teams are that are paying their coach similar amounts or even a little bit less? What are they not doing the coaches who aren't getting paid $8 million are doing? What is Kentucky, this program that has everything at their fingertips, what are they not doing that others are? What are they doing that Bill Self is doing? Well, and look, he's not the best example this year, but he just won 2 years ago. What are they not doing that Baylor's doing? What are they not doing that Arizona's doing or Gonzaga or Villanova? Why, or North Carolina? What are they different? What's different between them and that? And I don't know the answer to that question. They know the answer to the question. I don't think they need to look at what they're doing right. I think they need to really look at what they're doing wrong. Because sometimes I think you can be well, this is right. If we just lean more into the right, if we get this is the correct thing. We're getting great talent out of the, high school recruiting. We can get anybody we want out of the portal if we wanted them. We can do this.
But you can add all these young freshmen and all these phenoms and diaper dandies, as Dick Vitale used to call them, or whoever. You got to have some meat and experience.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
But yes,
that's what they're doing wrong, maybe.
That's one of the things. But there's probably other things that they're not doing as well. And I think sometimes because you are a guy whose everything's worked out because of the way you do it right so long, that sometimes you don't look at where am I missing? Because the playbook that I have says this should work, and it's not. Number 3, has the game started to pass him by?
No.
I mean, no. Look, he did something last night I never thought I would see him do. He thought they were shooting a 1-and-1 when they had
his
and
players
one.
thought that too, and he was kind of turned around at the time. But I saw that the player made a shot, was fouled, and he had a chance for an and-one, and his players they missed it, and he just scooted it out of bounds. And Calipari thought it was a 1-on-1 too. That was a big, huge.
It's those are things you
cannot make that mistake.
Oh, look, it happens to the best of us, But eventually, there are things, and that doesn't mean if it's passed him by that it's all the way passed him by. But if he doesn't see, that he's not driving with the flow of traffic, then he's in trouble. I think that's really what I mean here.
Okay, all right, that's a possibility.
I think they've got every tool at their disposal. They've got every amount of support you could possibly want, every dollar that you would need. And I think he's still a great basketball coach. But I think that the game has changed a little bit. It's that you're not just the one getting all the diaper dandies and the blue chips, and your big bad Kentucky and only a select few have players like you have. I mean, nowadays it feels different because of the portal or because of extra years or whatever the case may be. And so it's not as simple as let's go grab the next Fab Five and roll them in here and go deep in the tournament. Like there's a little bit more nuance to it that maybe is I don't know, because it's not for a lack of anything really. For it to happen year after year after year. There's no lack of support. There's no lack of NIL money. There's no lack of talent. So, yeah, I mean, I can see why this would be a question. I still think he knows the game of basketball, but maybe just on this level, it's not quite what it was when he was soaring at the highest of highs, and others have caught up a little bit.
By the way, remember now, Scott Drew had to learn how to change from trying to go and grab the one and dones, even though they've had those recently and have a couple of them maybe this year. Remember the Perry Jones and it did Isaiah Austin, and they were good, but it wasn't. And they kind of got away from that for a little bit and started building up more of a deeper bench and older roster, and eventually led to, of course, a national title.
Absolutely. Number 2, can he actually build a veteran-laden roster? Can he do that? Can he have the split? Because I think that's what's the biggest thing that's missing is, sure, you can get all the, the diaper dandies you want, trademark Dick Vitale. You can do that, but you do need some guys in there who can calm them down, who can be that. And you could see last night where, you get to the huddle and they're like, all right, look, you probably look at yourself like, I've never done this before. And they're like, me neither. Like, What are we in here? And they get a little bit hyperventilated and they start, making mistakes that they normally make. And, the other thing is you've got a team in Oakland. That's the other thing. The weight of the world is on Kentucky in these situations. They don't want to be the ones who are upset. For Oakland, what do they care? Like, I mean, everything starts working out for them. It's going to be sad if they don't win, but no one is saying, like, hey, you're going to go in and beat Kentucky, one of the all-time great blue blood programs. So they can just go out there and grip it and rip it and not worry about, all that other stuff. So those things, you need veterans to be like, look, don't worry about it. We got you. We've been here before. We can do this. Because that first NCAA tournament, talked to a great many players. They're like, man, that first 10 minutes it's everything you've ever wanted in your life, and then it's going so fast.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and number 1, would they really fire Coach Cal?
Oh, I'm telling you, man.
I think right now that would be a mistake.
I think you take a deep breath before you make a decision.
Because 2 years you can get out for half of this. And what's different? You're still going to have great players,
right?
And you'll be able to bring in whoever you want. Like maybe just don't throw money away on firing a coach who's won you a national title and hasn't been where you want him and has not been an $8 million coach for the last few years. But he can be again. Just maybe tell him like, hey, it's a different era. Let's push them a little bit.
I mean, I think everything is on the table in terms of change. They were one of the youngest teams in the country, and when you're typically putting in or you're recruiting and landing blue chips and then turning them around into pro prospects, one and dones, at a pretty high clip, it's hard to your previous point, build a veteran roster, but you got to figure out a way to have more experience so there's not like that young that youth that catches up with you during tournament time when you're facing off with veteran squads. But with this, I know A&M's warped everybody's brains about these big buyouts, but I don't know Kentucky well enough either to say that they can't do this or that they would never do this. But I just don't understand why you would burn $30 million to get rid of this guy to go hire who.
Well, not only that, Craig, you're right. $33 million or whatever it is, and then you're going to have to go overpay for the guy coming in, and it's going to cost you a bunch of other bundles of money.
Yeah, you're looking at like a $40 million investment, and I know you're making really big money in the SEC TV deals and probably in ticket sales and all those types of things, but I don't know, man. I just don't feel like every team in that league or in the top 25 all-time of college basketball or in college sports or top 5 all-time college basketball. I don't think everybody's just keen on the idea of because, he's had 4 years of disappointment, let's go set $30 million on fire and go then hire somebody for big money who, again, who's a bigger, more high-profile name than him? Like, who are you going in and hire? Are you going to go Steve Kerr? I mean, is that like, because there's only so many names that would be bigger already than John Calipari. So would they really? I'm sure somewhere in Lexington there's somebody that's like, I'll put up $2 million for this. But I don't know, man. You let it play out, like you said, Paul. Let it drop down, and the buyout drop down, and then at that point you'll have enough evidence to go. All right, it's been 5 years in a row or 6 years in a row. It's now only $15 million. Yeah, now we cut bait. We got we've seen all we need to see. But I think that would be a major overreaction to go and sign a check like that. You could do a lot of other good with that. Like go get players that are going to help you get over that hump next year in your
go get a
hopes.
couple of seasoned guys in the portal if they want to. You got the ability to do that. By the way, this is the craziest ending. Yale had a